Hey guys, welcome to another podcast, and yes, I'm still your host, OmniTech, and today we're going to talk about the digital gold. The age-old question of modern times: gold, silver, oil, Bitcoin, any cryptocurrency. What is the value of all that? Well, let me tell you, it is zero versus digital gold. And yes, a lot of you mistakenly think that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are digital gold. That is absolutely wrong, in my opinion, because those are cryptocurrencies. It is a currency for transactions. But the real gold here is data and information, which is data. And by that, your information has more value than your weight in gold or your weight in Bitcoin is these days. So let's start from the beginning. Let's say you visit a website that sells books. The website may collect data on your browsing history, your search queries, your purchases, your ratings, reviews, etc. The website may use this data to analyze your preferences and behavior patterns. The website may also use this data to personalize your experience and recommend you books that you may like, and of course you'll go back and buy. Well, the website may also use this data to target you with ads that are relevant or kind of relevant to your interests, and sometimes, which unfortunately these days is most of the times, the website may also share this data with other entities that may have similar or different purposes. And that's a big point of it. That's quite a huge sentence. That website may also share this data with other entities that may have similar or different purposes. That means on every website you go, data is being collected whether they say so or not. In every app you go, data is being collected whether you like it or not. And that data is being sold to data brokers, which then turn around and give that data, of course, in exchange for value, which is money, to companies that need that data. Let's say, for example, you and 1.5 million other Americans have been looking for headphones recently. In that 1.5 million people, 500,000 of them are looking for wireless headphones. Another 500,000 are looking for professional studio headphones, which are probably Sennheiser or something high-end. And the other 500,000 are just looking for the cheapest wired headphones just to have something to listen to. Well, now the website or the app or the microphone or wherever the data is being collected, that data now is split in categories. You that were looking for professional studio quality headphones are put in a category to be targeted by probably Shure, Sennheiser, Pioneer, Gemini, all the high-end companies. Now you have a higher value. Your information matters now. And now let's say you live in LA. Now in the next website you go, because the data broker sold it to a lot of places and people, next time you go check, let's say, a YouTube video. By chance, you see a video of a store that's somewhere in LA, not far from you, being advertised. And that store sells exactly Sennheiser headphones. What a coincidence, because in your mind you already forgot that you were reading that blog about Sennheiser headphones, or that you were looking at Sennheiser headphones online on a different device, but that you are either under the same network or you are signed in under the same account. What a coincidence. No, absolutely not. It is not a coincidence. These are very well calculated, targeted advertisements that are being brought in front of you. It is not by mistake or accident. You were the target, and this is how they make money. Now, they go even deeper, because now they want to know about your age. Now they want to know about your exact location, your affiliation, your belief system. So now they can target you with a proper color, size, location, features, and whatnot on those headphones. Do you see now why your information to the big corporations that have the money is way more valuable than gold? So now you have the value. Your information has the value. Now, not going completely dark, there are benefits to data collection sometimes, even though I beg to differ, but I might say that data collection can help us learn more about ourselves sometimes and the world around us, can help discover new facts, insights, trends, patterns, etc., which sometimes for studying purposes or different studies and explorations, yes, it helps. And yes, it helps improve our knowledge and understanding of various phenomena, issues, societal problems, and all that stuff, which if used ethically makes sense. If used legally makes sense. But if it's used by a nefarious actor or a bad actor, now then we get into the trouble side of the map. So, as the same way that data collection can help us make better decisions and choices, it can manipulate us to make the wrong decisions and choices because we fed the algorithm a different information that the algorithm thinks somehow that, for example, let's say I like, I don't know, USB type A green colored cable. That makes zero sense to me, but I hope you're understanding it. I was just looking at it because I was thinking in my mind, why would people buy that? And no, don't take it personal if you like that. I'm not saying I don't like it, but just an example. So now the algorithm and data collection and web crawlers and the cookie collectors know that. Now they're thinking, well, Omnitech looks like he likes green USB type A cables. Well, let's bombard him with these kind of cables similar to that. Doesn't need to stop to USB-A. It goes HDMI, green cable. Well, USB to, I don't know, HDMI cable. You see the whole trend that keeps going and going and going, supposedly to help you make a choice, but they're not knowing the intention you looked at it for, the perspective you had while you were looking at that cable. And now let's leave the cable alone, because, you know, sometimes I get caught in these examples, but it is very important to actually put the point across, because I'm really tired at this point of hearing people say that, well, if you have nothing to lose, why would you not put your data online? For example, why would you not put your social security on Facebook, your driver's license, your license plates, your real address, and all that? Well, did you forget that we're not in the 1930s anymore? Do you even know that we're in 2023? That frauds, scams, I don't know, axe murders probably, weirdos, people with bad intentions are at a higher level than probably ever. And yes, it's the age of internet. Now that data is being collected for a lot of reasons besides just to sell you headphones or cables. It goes beyond that. And this is why taking your online footprint extremely serious will help you on the long run. It's not always just daisies and flowers and good smells and beautiful hills. Sometimes, yes, there's cliffs, there is erosion, there's all that in the internet. So be very careful in what you do on the internet, where you put your data, because not everything on the internet is your friend. Because don't forget, sometimes data collection can also have more drawbacks than advantages, and I'm kind of a believer to some point on that one too, because data collection can invade our privacy and autonomy. It can expose our personal information and activities to others without our consent or awareness, and it's happening daily. It can affect our control and ownership of our own data. So it can influence our behavior and decisions without our knowledge or agreement, like I told you. Looking at the weird cable for reasons that you would never buy it, but now the data collector thinks, oh yeah, you like green cables, let's bombard him with that. And data collection can harm our security and safety. It can expose us to identity theft, fraud, cyber attacks, and there is much more to that. It can compromise our confidentiality and integrity of our data. It can endanger our physical and mental health. Believe it or not, it goes far beyond what you think that, oh, but what are they gonna get just for me signing up to that shady website that has never been proven to be even real? What can they do? I'm giving them the last four of my social, I'm giving them my phone number, giving them my first name and not the last name. Oh, here we go. So now, this site has that. But this site you are forgetting that is buying data from other sites that you gave them your last name, you gave them your address, and boom. Now, this site has your address, first name and last name, phone number, and last four of your social security. So now they can just go right ahead and open accounts, and sometimes, especially online banking, they can open a full account with your name, and God help you if they do something nefarious with your name, resolving it in court and convincing somebody that it was not you. And as you see, this is an extreme. I understand that, but it's happening, and it has happened to people, especially since the early 2000s, that the internet became more prevalent in society and people knew about more the internet and everything. Now, especially after 2015 and 16, everything is on the internet. People don't even want to walk outside the door. People are just, nah, I have eBay, I have Amazon, I'm not going to mom and pop shop. Well, it's reality. I don't have an opinion on it, whether it's good or bad, because obviously Amazon and eBay, they're creating jobs too. So I can't say that, oh yeah, if you don't buy at mom and pop shop, you're ruining the economy. Not really, because no, the big corporations are hiring and employing people, including YouTube that I'm talking to you from. Believe it or not, there's so many jobs that actually YouTube pays these people for. So it's not just us YouTubers keeping YouTube alive. There is thousands of people that work for YouTube that have a regular salary to maintain YouTube and work for it, just as people work at Walmart, construction, restaurants, etc., etc. But not to get out of our tracks here. So we will get back in 1 second to continue the rest of this segment. And we're right back. So, a lot of times you hear people talking about, well, why does that have to do, what does that have to do with my privacy? Because, you know, I'm just signing up for Facebook and a shady site that's next to it, and there's nothing wrong with that. How does that invade my privacy? Well, your privacy has more value than anything else, because your data is that privacy. Don't get it as a separate entities or separate meanings. Your data is your privacy. Because without that data, there's no privacy. Without your name, last name, address, social security, phone number, address, and all that, there's no you. Otherwise, you become a ghost. In that case, I'm not sure what you have to lose except for exposing maybe your face and somebody having to reconstruct your entire identity. And I hope you are not found in that situation, and I hope none of us are ever found in that situation. But that would be the only case that, yeah, maybe your data doesn't matter because it's nowhere to be found. And that's a different story. But otherwise, people ask, what is privacy and why does it matter? Well, privacy is the right or ability of individuals to control their own personal information and activities from others. Because it's you, it's yours. It's not up for grabs. And privacy is a fundamental human right that is recognized by many international laws and conventions and all that, with appropriate people that have more power and influence than me. I'm just kind of parroting what is that they are protecting. It is data and your privacy. Well, at least they claim to do so in paper. Privacy is also a personal value that varies from person to person, depending on culture, context, preference, and all that whole slew of stuff that depends what you consider, but the basics are what I just said. Your privacy is you, and that's how you should take it. Because, let's say, why do I still keep hitting the same point on and on, that your privacy matters, your data matters, and all that, because a lot of people are mistaking it for, oh, well, privacy, there's no such thing as the right to privacy. Well, in that case, if there's no right to privacy, why don't we all walk naked and leave our houses open? You know, the doors unlocked, and just live on our front yard, you know. Just what could go wrong with that? Because we all know we wear pants and shirts and lock our doors, first of all, for decency, respect to ourselves and our property, and third, for protection. It is protection, believe it or not. If you go somewhere that has mosquitoes or whatnot without clothes, you are not gonna like your life. You're gonna hate your life. So now here comes clothing for protection. You forget your door open. Maybe today and tomorrow nobody will touch anything in your house, and everybody that passes by, they see it, but they're benevolent people. They don't have anything nefarious in mind, and, well, you don't see any problem with that. But the third day, somebody that has a weird idea in their head comes inside your house, and let's say you have nothing to hide, right? Well, I mean, he could use that TV, he could use your shoes, could use your table, could use your, I don't know if you have any cash or jewelry, devices. Yeah, all of them could be sold on eBay. But if you closed your door and you decided that, yeah, this is kind of private, and let me keep it that way, he wouldn't have had an incentive now to exploit that. So the same goes with your data. Don't give a shady site or company or app and whatnot the incentive to exploit your information. Meaning, don't give them your information. They don't need it. They do not need it. If they want to confirm it's you, there's other ways to confirm it. If they are legit sites, well, they have more to lose than you. For example, let's say YouTube. When you monetize and all that stuff, yes, you have to confirm it's you, but YouTube doesn't have an interest to actually leak that information. God forbid, I hope they don't get breached. But primarily, they have more to lose than you if they actually leak that data that they're asking you for, address, phone number, and all that to confirm you. So in that case, well, there's no other way so far, and we have to do what we gotta do. But a shady site, just because you want to buy a pair of socks, they somehow want your phone number, they want all that information, or sometimes when you go in stores, oh, would you like to sign up for our whatever, loyalty cards, and why do they need your address if you're opting out from the flyers? So you don't want the flyers? Why are they wanting your phone number when you're clearly telling them, I want the notifications via email only? And I guess with a name, you don't exactly give them always your real name and last name, because why do they want that? I'm gonna use that loyalty card because I'm buying from them. It's not that they're doing me a favor. They're rewarding me because I'm being loyal to them. I could take my money somewhere else. And how do I know that store is not gonna get breached tomorrow? How do I know one of their employees is gonna go rogue? These are things that I ask myself before I provide any personal information to anyone, and sometimes even to government bodies. You have to be careful because we have a lot of scams today that are posing as government. So be careful when somebody says they're from IRS, but somehow they tell you IRS is in California. If you don't see a red flag on that, you might need to do some more research how this whole thing works. And that's just one of those brutal examples that unfortunately is happening. And it's just, privacy matters. And yes, privacy matters because it safeguards interests and rights as citizens. And it allows us to participate in a free process and public affairs without coercion or intimidation. Because now they don't have that stuff to dig on you. Do you see where that goes if you take it even further? That data, the digital gold, so it enables you to access information and resources that are essential for your education, development, and all that stuff, but with the appropriate authorities or appropriate venues, not in the wrong places, as you're playing Candy Crush. Why does Candy Crush want to know your exact location, your other apps usage, your battery percentage, your memory, how many pictures you have in your phone, whose pictures you have in your phone, what other social media you have, when you're simply trying to play Candy Crush? How do I know who owns Candy Crush really? Who's watching that server with the data? And do you see how wrong? I understand their point of view that, yeah, they make money doing that, but are they telling you they do that? Are they being explicit about that? That, look, before you click this agreement, we collect this data, your fingerprint, your time zone, location, all that, then continue with the rest of the agreement. Instead, those parts of the agreement are buried to the very end that you have to be extremely good and a law scholar to actually even understand or find it. And that's sad. That is sad, and that's very, very sneaky. That is sneaky. Look, I want companies to make money. I believe in everyone's freedom and ability to actually make a living the way they see it fit as long as it's legal and moral, but not in a way that you're tricking people into believing something while you're doing something else. And unfortunately, a lot of companies are doing that, and that's why your data is more important than cash, Bitcoin, gold, and even diamonds. It is, believe me. So, just to put it in a better perspective, your data or privacy is as safe as your knowledge is. So, if you know about security, about breaches, and about all that, then you know how to safeguard your data. Otherwise, your privacy can be violated or compromised by data collection in many ways. By unauthorized or unlawful access to our personal information or activities by others. And, that can happen in many ways when our data is hacked, stolen, leaked, sold, and there's many venues that it can go wrong. And I guess it comes to a point that the more you learn about tech, the less you trust it. And when I was a teenager, probably, I've heard this term, and I thought, how could that be a real thing? Because the more you know about tech, the less you trust it. Then why would you learn about tech? Well, now I understand why. That I'm a tech myself, that means the more I learn about it, the more I see how it could be used against me and others. And that's what I mean, the more you learn about it, the least you trust it. I don't mean that I'm not gonna turn off on a TV for fear of something. In that point, then I would be living under a rock, and I'm not planning to do so. But I just be very careful, extremely careful with how my data is shared, stored, or who even has it. And it's a complex situation and lifetime that we are today. It has never been in this way before. Yes, data breaches have happened before, leaks, even from kings and queens. Memos and draft documents and all have been leaked by their own workers and yards and all that stuff. But these days, there's no way for you to even know who leaked it. It could be somebody inside your machine copying that data on the background, and you will not even know about it. And that's why I keep most of my personal data, which I never store personal data on a hard drive or anything when it comes to driver's license, passport, social security, that kind of stuff. No, I never store it on a computer, even on offline drives. It's just something that, no, I would never put it there. Why do I need it there? Because obviously, if I lose my passport, I'll have to get a new one no matter what, because I can't go through an airport with a picture of my passport, because they have to put a seal on it and to check it physically. So what's the point of me having a copy of my passport on my hard drive, giving it the possibility of being hijacked by somebody that's gonna pose as me and do probably stuff that I cannot even recover from? Which to me doesn't make sense. Why would I have my documents on a hard drive? And no, I'm not being paranoid at all. I'm just being logical here. Why would you have a picture of your credit card back and front on your computer? What's the point of that? That doesn't make sense to me. If you have an idea why that would make sense to someone, please leave it in the comments below. Why would highly personal documents be stored on a computer or any kind of digital media? It doesn't matter if it's a CD, if it's a diskette, if it's a hard drive, it's a USB, and God forbid, cloud. Cloud is not even an option for me. I have nothing against the cloud, right? I am just not somebody who would ever use cloud services. And it's just a personal preference. I just cannot trust it because I know how vulnerable it is. I barely trust my own hard drives. And what do I have on my hard drives? Really? It's laughable. It's laughable what I have on them. Probably software. I might have pictures from travels, videos that I make for YouTube, scripted documents sometimes when I script a video. But like videos like this one, for example, I don't really script them because I'm just freely talking. That's why I'm liking this podcast method thingy here. And thanks to YouTube actually for implementing it here. I really appreciate that because I feel like I'm making a video on my free time, but keeping it on the topic that interests me, and I believe it interests most of you as well, not only me. Okay, so just so we are not completely in a black-pilled situation, there are safeguards, officially talking, and yes, I've listed a few of them here, and I'm gonna read them for you because I don't know from the top of my head, since I'm not a law professor or lawyer or judge or any of that. So this is just text that I compiled from research on laws and regulations that are regarding data protection and privacy protection, and I'm going to read them to you right now, which is the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. That is a law that applies to the European Union and the European Economic Area, EEA, and it gives individuals more control and ownership over their personal data, imposes more obligations and responsibilities on data collectors and processors. So, if you live in Europe and you want to know about your data protection rights and laws and regulations, I would encourage you to search about the GDPR, or the General Data Protection Regulation. This one applies to Europe and the European Economic Area only. So now there's another one for mostly it's called California, but it applies more abroad sometimes. It's called the California Consumer Privacy Act, or the CCPA. You might have seen it sometimes, which is a law that applies to California and affects businesses that operate in California or collect data from California residents. That's what I meant with a more broad than that. So if you're in another state or another country and you're trying to collect data from a California resident, you will have to obey, or must obey, according to the law, to the CCPA, which is the California Consumer Privacy Act. Now, besides that, there's other acts and laws that apply here, which the other one would be the Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act, or PIPEDA, which is a law that applies to Canada and affects businesses and that operate in Canada or collect data from Canadian residents, which goes the same as for the one in California, or just broadly all over the United States, which we have protections against data collections and all that, but those laws vary from state to state, and sometimes not all the actors that participate in the data collection obey to the laws and regulations and the rules, and that's why I say practice data safety as if you were handing your name and last name on that page to a hacker. At least that's how I see it, and if you differ from what I'm thinking here, as you guys know, please feel free to comment below. You know, I'm very welcome to comments and having a healthy discussion. I'm not know-it-all. I never claim to know it all, and I know I will never know it all. And I learn from you. I hope you can learn sometimes from me too. And I'm very open and willing to talk about things. Which, back to the law, as I said, those laws and all that with the data. However, these laws and regulations are not perfect or comprehensive. They have some limitations and gaps that need to be addressed or improved, and some of those limitations are the inconsistency, fragmentation of privacy laws and regulations across different jurisdictions and regions, and there is no universal or harmonized standard or framework for privacy protection in the world, and I believe that might be not a bad thing because not the same blanket can cover different bodies, so every country and region should have their own way of protecting their data, even though logically data protection should apply to everybody the same, but unfortunately there's no other way to do it humanly and ethically without violating somebody else's ways of governing or ways of living. Other cultures, other countries have different beliefs, even when regarding to data and privacy. So who am I, or who are we to tell them what to do? Well, their country, their rules. Not my problem. I just want the people of that country, wherever you are, to safeguard your own data. Don't expect anybody to safeguard your data as you would, because nobody else cares about your name, last name, and your information as much as you, and it doesn't hurt anybody else if that goes wrong as much as you. Okay, so not to make this podcast way too long, I'm trying to maintain them under 30 minutes, but sometimes I may not be able to do so. I would like to just put a few more words, which are kind of warning words. Be aware of your digital footprint and online presence. Know what kind of data you're generating and sharing online, with whom, for what purpose, under what terms, and what risks. These are all questions that should always come to mind. Be selective of your digital platforms and services. Choose wisely which websites you visit. And sure, be careful what apps you use, what social media platforms you join, which online services you sign up for, and read their privacy policies if possible. If you don't know how to exactly go through the entire text if it's too long, download it as a PDF file. Every browser in existence today, when you right-click on it, has a print function. If it doesn't have a download as PDF, has a print function. When you hit print it as PDF. When you open it into a PDF file, you hit CTRL and F. It opens a small search box on the top right side of the document, and you can search. Now, in that search, you can search key terms like sharing, for data sharing, location, data safety, and more keywords that you might be concerned about. So, and yeah, another beautiful keyword would be data collection. Data collection. So, yes, there is a way to actually read the privacy policies a little bit faster. Plus, most of the browsers these days have implemented what do you call a text-to-speech, and there's free text-to-speech sites. If you just do a 2-second search, then you can plug that text on it and it will read it for you, just so you are aware of where you're putting your signature, which our signatures are digital these days. They're no longer just pen and paper. And data collection and privacy concerns are complex and dynamic issues that affect all of us in one way or another, and we need to be aware and informed of these issues and take actions to protect our rights and interests as well as respect those of others. And we also need to work together to create a more ethical and respectful data culture in society, obviously. And as a end of it, I thank you for listening to Omnitech. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, rate, review, and share it with your friends and family. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or feedback on this topic or any other topics related to data, privacy, or anything in my channel for that matter, please leave it on the comments below. And until next time, stay safe and stay curious. Bye!